Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Titan Vanquisher League, the only place where you can get head from Kog'Maw. Like Kog'Maw. Whatever we were saying going in.
You really practiced that and still managed to mess it up. That's very impressive, to be honest.
Tonight, we have Tilt taking on Sepx. It is me, Romeo. I am joined today not by Satyr, but instead by Cherry J.
Not Cherry J, Cherry Coke, actually, different Cherry.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, everyone. Satyr is out with a cold, and I have to replace the ever-so-present fan favorites, but I will do my best to fill his massive shoes. Yeah, I'm a former Vanquisher player until the Dorado Gaming data incident happened. I play in ADL for Dorado, and I'm very excited to cast the series.
Dorado Gaming Incident? What? Wait. What is this Dorado Gaming Incident?
Oh, the Dorado Gaming incident is that I am no longer on Dorado Gaming Theta. Perhaps
Oh, God! Oh, God, it's the great incident of 2025, ladies and gentlemen.
Great incident of 2025, truly.
But we are 30 seconds away from getting to the Game 1 draft right now. How much do you know about these two teams we're about to give a play-by-play of?
I recognize definitely some of the players on each roster. I'm doing a little bit of, on the ground research as this is sort of last minute change, but we do have Tilt DT1 sitting at 2-0 in the league, winning both of their matches in a dominant 2-0 fashion. I know this Tilt roster definitely has a lot of players that's moved up from Emerald Leagues and having a very strong start in this Vanquisher League, which is not really to be expected from orgs that are making their first sort of debut into this space. Summit Esports Phoenix, I believe a few of these players were in the Summit roster in the Emerald Leagues and also some that I recognize from Diamond Leagues. They are 1-1 with a game score of 2-3, so definitely showing that they can hold their own, but they don't have this pristine record that Tilt DT1 does. What are your thoughts on these two rosters coming into this, Romeo?
I think it's always exciting when you have an undefeated team going into week 3, seeing if they're going to be able to manage that undefeated streak. Like you said, players coming up from Emerald doing that strong in Vanquisher is a little bit unexpected. So I'm super excited to see whether or not this undefeated streak continues or if it's going to fall in week 3 and we're going to see two teams at 2-1 going into week 4. But I think with that, we're going to head to the draft and see what these teams are going to pick. I hope I get a Xin Zhao today.
Yeah, out of all the champions in League of Legends, and you're really
Xin Zhao's
excited.
the greatest champion in League. I have 1.4 million mastery score on Xin Zhao in Emerald.
In the nicest way possible. Is everything okay at home with you?
No, not a little bit. Do you see the amount of swords I have beside me? It's because things aren't okay.
Is that like 100 Funko? Oh my! I may be co-casting with a psychopath, but we're gonna make it happen anyway. We are seeing a lot of these jungle bans coming out. We see the Viego banned away from Rigor Mortis. Rigor Mortis, a member of this Tilt roster that's definitely familiar in Diamond Leagues. He's not moving up. He's been in this division for a bit, known for his picks like the Viego and this Wukong, which also just got banned. On the other side of the draft, we have Pantheon and Azir, two very high priority champions. Azir and now this Rumble as well, specifically picked a lot in pro play. We see a lot of pro players opt for these higher skill cap champions like the Azir, like the Rumble. Do I think a DM100 Azir is the same as a pro Azir? No, but definitely could be a champion that Zini is able to pilot. And as we see, the last ban for Summit Esports is another jungle ban. Truly, Rigor Mortis' biggest fans getting 3 banned. And they did leave Varus up, which obviously is going to be snapped up B1, sort of the jack of all trades, AD carry, if you will. You can pick him, you can make him go AP, you can make him go on hit, you can make him go poke. He does whatever and he does it fine. Could be the MF responded, but definitely a strong laning AD carry, but has a more, I guess, sort of focused role in what she does. She presses R in a team fight and she hopefully kills them. Doesn't really offer much outside of push in that regard. Paired with the Lilia. Fun little interaction.
Beautiful Lilia pick coming up. I don't think we've seen a Lilia jungle on stream yet in Vanquisher, but I love seeing high tempo junglers who can run around the map. And I think Lilia's a great fast pace. I'm curious what support's going to get paired with the MF. Is there any support you want to see to go into this prom, Varus?
So the problem with blinding MF this early is that MF, and now that you have a Lilia jungle, you really want a support that can provide a lot of CC like this Rel, and it makes this Braum pick very, very valuable because Braum is a champion that does pretty decently into these engaged supports. Obviously, you have Braum's E able to block out the bullet time, but the side of Summit Esports Phoenix recognizing that, even though in isolation, the supports that counter Braum is stuff like the Enchanters, like the Karmas, that can really abuse Braum's like low range and laning phase. They realize that for their team comp to work, they have to have a pick like this Rel that can set up the carries of the MF and the Lilia. And we see a Gwen jungle for Rigor Mortis, and um, much like you are, we're hoping to see Xin I really love this Gwen jungle camp. We'll see how base Rigor Mortis is with his build and with his itemizations and his runes, but definitely Gwen as a champion, very good into Lilia. You're able to match her clear, and if you use the Hallowed Mist properly, you can really mitigate everything that this Summit Esports team wants to do. You can W through the MF ult, you can W a Shockwave, you can W Lilia Sleep. It really just depends on how good Rigor Mortis is on this Gwen. Granted, I know Rigor Mortis is definitely more known for his capabilities on bruiser type champions, like for example the 3 that were banned from him. I've yet to really see him play this Gwen, so it remains to be seen if he sort of is able to shift his playstyle. But he does have a lot of supporting pieces around him. Renekton, a strong early game bruiser, very safe blind top, which is sort of just what you need on blue side, and Lissandra in the mid as that answer into the Orianna. Very, very good lockdown, good at setting up champions like the Gwen and the Varus, and they have a really strong CC chain if they can chain the Lissandra's crowd control into the Braum concussive blows. On the side of Summon Esports, they went with an R5 Ornn in the top lane. Just, it's Ornn. Kind of surprised, frankly, to see this Ornn. Doesn't necessarily like beat up the Renekton in lane, you sort of just have to play to scale, and most importantly, your ultimate does get blocked by that Braum E. Maybe the logic is that Braum can only press E on either the Ornn ult or the MF ult, but definitely when we're looking at these drafts, I really sort of expect more, I guess, out of an R5, something that could potentially, punish, the draft that's been presented to them, but it seems like Tilt Esports really getting to blind their top laner for free. What do you think about these drafts? Who do you think is favored?
I think the thing I like about Sep's comp, outside of maybe not having the best ball delivery system, I feel like it's just your easy, classic front to back kind of style comp. And I think the Ornn, like, although you're right, it's not a big fancy pick to go into that Renekton, it is definitely something where I think if we get to the mid game, is going to help Sep out a lot in those team fights. I think it's going to keep that MF from falling off too quickly. And I think like the Ornn, like you said, it creates Braum having to decide between the MF block or the Braum block. And on top of that, I think they needed a little bit more CC. I feel like they had enough damage at picking like something that can rival the Renekton, getting like a bruiser champion. It's fine, but you have definitely enough damage between the Orianna, Misfortune, and Lilia. Whereas the other side, I think Tilt's interesting because they have a lot of champions that can do a lot of work, but I'm not necessarily certain how perfect their team fight's going to be in the Sep. Like, what do you think of the team fight situation here? Like, if we're having people walking in the river, we're having a dragon fight or something, how do you think Tilt plays it?
Definitely, they have to use the sort of disengage tools that they have to a great effect. And the main 2 abilities that we want to be looking at is Gwen W and Braum E. Really, what's going to determine if Tilt is able to play League of Legends, if they can use these 2 abilities properly in order to take space, and B, in order to mitigate the effectiveness of all of these ultimate abilities. Obviously, if Summit Esports is able to all press all of their Rs on all 5 members of Tilt Esports, they're going to win the fight, they're going to win the game. But Tilt does have the tools, A, to generate leads in the early game to get them a gold advantage, and tools to press that gold advantage to win team fights. As a Grand Jungle player, I'm going to be very interested to see if Rigor Mortis has that dog in him. I'm very excited because a champion like Gwen does have the capabilities to sort of put this game on her back. She does have the setup in pretty much every single lane to do what she wants, and at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to the execution. I also want to see Water on this Varus really abuse the lane advantage that Varus has, just because Varus is just an absolute demon in lane. MFRL is not like a weak lane, to be sure, but with this Varus Braum, you do have the capabilities to fight them, and you do have the capabilities to play a 2v2, especially before level 6. I'm curious to see what build Water goes. It would make a lot more sense to go this poke lethality virus. This game it allows you to consistently stay out of the engage range of some Esports Phoenix, and if you're able to get those early game cues onto the MF, you could get a lane advantage that sort of puts her out of the game. I mean, looking at some of esports, there's a lot of magic damage. Orin is mostly magic damage, but the two damage carries of the Orianna and the Lilia are completely magic damage. So if this MF is put behind some MR itemization within the Renekton and the Braum would spell disaster for some of these sports to be able to get their kill thresholds with these ultimates.
Do we think we're going to be seeing the Gwen path towards the bot side for that reason? Like, are we expecting a Gwen pathing trying to shut down that misfortune? Do you think she's going to try to focus on her own game and like head to that top side where it's safe for her?
Gwen has nothing really that she wants to do to her Renekton or in top lane, and she shouldn't be scared of Lilia, killing her in her jungle or anything. Varus Braum is strong enough lane that Gwen should be pathing bot. I expect Gwen to path bot. I believe in Rigor Mortis not to grief his own pathing. So yeah, definitely looking for Gwen to get her levels. Level 6 is really the point in time when Gwen spikes. Obviously, level 6 is when some of esports spikes, but if Rigor Mortis is able to take a fight off of a pick with a Lissandra ult or off of a very good Braum Q into passive, this Gwen should be able to burn the ultimates and get some gold.
Well, we're going to have to see if you're right. We're heading into the game 1 right now. All champions. It looks like we're getting 5 points across the board from Summit and Tilt. Any thoughts on the runes we're seeing right now?
Well, I will always be a first strike Gwen believer, but the Conqueror the Conqueror page is generally standard. It's also like fine. The runes doesn't really matter. The thing that I'm going to be really judging this Gwen build on is if we see a Riftmaker or not. And if we do see a Riftmaker, I will be sending a strongly worded email to Rigor Mortis. Definitely want to see this Gwen go for this snap burst build because once you use your W to dodge the abilities of the Summon Esports team, you can just one-shot them. You can kill them. What's MF gonna do? Run away from you? Like, she can't do that. She doesn't move. She just sits still and
Running
she presses R.
Running's always a little effective. Just strut it up and sprint away.
Yeah. After they did the little mini rework thing on Gwen, which is one of Riot's biggest design failures, neither here nor there. Gwen's ultimate slow was changed so that it is becomes I believe like 50 or 60% slow from rank 1. Previously for most of Gwen's existence, the amount that your ultimate slowed scaled based on level in the ultimate. So it really only became an effective like chase down tool by the time you were super late game. Now at level 6, if someone walks up too far, they're going to die if you hit them with your ult. So we see a lot of trading in the mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like Rise is taking a little bit of an advantage right now over Albino Sunbear, which is one of the few names I've actually heard before looking at it. I feel like I've played against Albino at some point. I could totally be wrong, but I feel like I've
I
100%
played
have.
Emerald Lakes.
Yeah, and I feel like they were a monster when I used to play against them, and that's a little terrifying seeing that name. So I'm curious how that's gonna go into Summit right now. But right now, what I'm hearing is you are all eyes on Rigor Mortis, all eyes on that Gwen pick. You seem like you are the Church of Rigor Mortis right now, and if I'm him, I'm terrified to get the strongly worded email from you after this.
I wouldn't say Church of Rigor Mortis. I'd say I'm in the Church of Gwen Jungle, and Rigor Mortis he needs to prove that he got it. All in all, we do see the pro comps draft score leaning towards Tilt, and I would be inclined to agree with it. I think your point about it being a little bit of a higher execution draft is definitely valid. But if these players, this Tilt team is 2-0 on, they have not lost a single game. I am fine sort of putting faith in them to sort of meet that burden of execution. And definitely draft wise, I would favor it to Tilt.
Right now, we're seeing the top lane. Juan Cake has a little bit of a health advantage over Weatherneck. I don't imagine it's going to last too long as we're seeing that Fury bar build up. Gwen and Lilia both on their last camp, both of them about to hit level 4 near that bot lane with that scuttle up. I think Blob Blob looks like they might have a bit of an advantage in the scuttle fight right now. It looks like the mid prio was in their favor. They're going to be getting there first. And Gwen looks like they're swapping to that top scuttle right now.
Yeah, definitely. Gwen finishing the clear at around like 325, which unfortunately, given the lane state that MF and Rel have stacked 2 waves and are crashing it, means that she's not there early enough to get a gank before Crab. So she's going to make the correct decision, not even try and go for that bottom Crab, takes that top Crab. Ultimately, in this matchup, while True Believer would have cleared the jungle a little faster, it's kind of meaningless. Rig is also actually looking, we see pings onto the mid
Oh, there's going to
lane.
be the slow landed from Lilia. Gwen on that top side of the river, though. It doesn't look like anything is going to come of this gank.
So what Gwen is looking for is that a lot of times Lilia is actually going to start her Raptors instead of starting her red, and Rig is showing up at that Raptors pit, dropping a ward just to see if the Raptors spawn. Because he went to that top crab, he does have a small timer during while Lilia's throwing her bowling ball and stuff in the mid lane. She does have a small timer to try and sneak that Raptors respawn. However, Lilia, instead of starting the Raptors, opted to start the red. As you see, Colin in the bot lane, making out barely with his life.
Yeah, huge stun coming out from Rel. Still no sums burnt outside of TPs for our mid laners. It's been a very, very slow start to this game, but it's kind of to be expected. How do you think that fares for Tilt? You were talking big time about how you're hoping they find something pre-6, and it hasn't happened just yet.
I think there's opportunity in the bot lane to find something pre-6. I'm kind of surprised that they chose to specifically the bot lane chose to let the wave play as it did. I mean, we saw MF Rel sort of get the bounce back and we're able to secure Lilia Crab Prio. I mean, it's not like bad or anything for the Gwen, but I do think it's an opportunity.
Colin and Rise go got it. Rigor Mortis and BR are going to be next to them. A huge stun coming from Rel. Colin going to be down to their last third of HP. Here's going to come Lilia. The Swirl Seed going to go through on Rigor Mortis. Rigor Mortis trying to find the kill, but it's going to be a first blood over to Rel and a second kill over to Rel as well. Water barely not being able to pick up the Orianna. That's 2 kills over to Summit. Not necessarily the player you want the kills on, but it's still 2 kills and probably a dragon nonetheless.
Definitely massive oversights coming in from Tilty1. Rigamortis and Kakalin looked to make the play happen while their mid laner was on the in base. And as well, we mentioned it a little bit pregame, but MF does have that strut passive. So she is always able to get to that river skirmish before Varus. And ultimately, you're fighting a 4v2. Gwen wasn't able to trigger the passive on the initial play as well. Ultimately, able to reset her E and then dashes towards the Orianna way after she had any business doing so. And the rest of Summit Esports was able to collapse. While it's unfortunate that Rel did get the 2 kills, it is a massive tempo sink for this Gwen to go for a play like that and have it not succeed. Again, Gwen, a champion that really, really wants to skirmish once she gets level 6. And a level 5 all in like that is generally just not optimal.
And had the snip been available for Gwen, I feel like that play goes the complete opposite way. You're definitely going to be seeing Tilt take the advantage on that play. But with that being that level 5 engaged, like you're saying, Summit was able to find a pretty sizable advantage right now over Tilt.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not game breaking or anything, but being able to get your first dragon without having to burn these important cooldowns like the bullet time, can't bullet time up obviously, but like specifically the shockwave, if you're getting that first dragon for free, it does mean that you have these abilities up for the grubs in 40 seconds. We do see that Braum is actually the only support that is top lane. BR is still in the bot lane, taking a bit of a late reset. But if Summit Esports does want to contest these grubs, they will still have the ultimates available if they choose to. Doesn't we do see the MF and the Rel swapping to top lane on the. This is just objectively a wave too late. Really do need to, if you're going to swap your bot lane for grubs like this to the top lane, you do kind of want to do it a little earlier. And we see the bot lane actually on the minimap recognizing that top lane is not the wave that they need to go to, pathing towards the mid lane to try and go from mid prio. this means that Renekton is going to be pushing alone in the
Fight
bot lane, but a fight may
about
start.
to break out. Here it goes. The slow's coming out onto Orianna. Albino Sunbear is going to be the first to go down as Feats of Warfare is claimed. There's going to be the blooming blows and the bullet time, which claims the life of Rigor Mortis and Albino Sunbear. Water on the run. The flash going to come out, but BR right behind them. The Shattering Strike going to come through. There it's going to be as Doom going to be able to find an assist. BR taking the kill. Again, it is 6 kills in the bot lane of Summit, but 4 of them on Rel.
Yeah, this is what we call a little bit insane. We are walking into an MF ult without our Braum at all. I saw him base at the end. I don't know if he was in the play or not. I sort of was mesmerized by the fact that they walked into a 3-man shockwave. Yes, they do get the pick onto Ryzini, but they sort of miss the bigger picture, which is if you are clumping up into an Ori Lilia Misfortune, you're going to lose the fight. It almost feels like it would have been better if their timers were already desynced. It would have been better for them to just take the advantage that they did have, which was the Renekton being able to solo push in the bot lane due to some poorly timed rotations by some Esports, but instead choosing to start the fight, Gwen sort of just eing in with no care in the world and being punished for it. We do see, however, Rigor is back on the map first, trying to make a play into the enemy bot side.
Blobfish on the run right now at BR, gonna be there to help protect him. Gwen not gonna be able to follow the chase as 4 members of Summit gonna be rotating over. It's a 4v4 right now. The Ornn gonna miss the knockup on Albino Sunbear. Ult for ult trade. Ryzini and BR both on Albino. Meanwhile, Weathernet caught between 2 fights. Ryzini gonna be able to find Albino Sunbear. The huge knockup coming from Wancake. Blob is sitting back right now. No ult, just trying to land blooming bows. There's gonna be the shutdown over to Rigor Mortis as they're now chasing Ryzini. The snip's gonna go through. There's the slow. There's the kill. Rigor Mortis gonna find 2 kills back for Tilt, but the fight still raging on. Snip still there. Brittle gonna go through. Triple kill for Rigor Mortis off a bad re-engage from Summit. And just like that, some gold pulled back into the pocket of Rigor Mortis.
Definitely. It looked like it may have been playable a little bit for some Esports Phoenix, but I just talked about, some Esports doing good, using their ultimates to win a fight, and then they go start a fight without most of their ultimates. The Lilia Blooming Blows was not available, I believe, for that entire fight. Shockwave came up at the very end of it, but at that time you hit a 3-man Shockwave and nobody has any damage left to kill anybody, and your MF is top lane. So sort of taking turns running it down. 3 kills going to Rigor Mortis is huge. However, I do see a Ruby Crystal in his inventory, and that means he's probably building Riftmaker. That makes me very sad. Romeo, does that make you sad? Because it makes me very, very, very sad.
I build Riftmaker on Gwen jungle.
Well, you've already disappointed me already, so it doesn't change much.
Look, wait, so you're saying, what's your build on Gwen, sorry? You're saying you go Nashor's Tooth into what?
Well, I go Lichbane. Nashor's Tooth is, acceptable. The item isn't bad. Really, you just go, you go Lichbane into, Shadow Flame Decap, depending on how many needlessly large rods you can buy, and then you just kill them. The fun fact about Gwen is that the way her passive works with AP ratios is that it's always better to just stack as much flat AP as you can. As we see, another fight's going to break out over this dragon.
Yeah, dragon going to be claimed just barely by Summit. If Satyr was here, he would be freaking out that it was such like a 50-50 on that dragon that could have walked in. Rigor Mortis just going to be chilling on his Raptors. And we're seeing a lot of objectives right now go over to Summit. Even though the gold gap is closing, Summit up right now 3 objectives. They have that Cloud Drake. They have that Chemtech Drake. It's going to be a Hextech Soul on the board. And I feel like a Hextech Soul on the board for Summit is huge.
Definitely. Getting a Hextech Soul on these champions, especially, as we see it solo kill in top lane, or we don't see it.
The Brittle!
I'd like to point out that Ornn did not have a full item. Renekton probably got his cleaver once he died and he got the base, but Ornn winning this matchup this early is more of a testament to a player skill or difference. We have replays. Okay, yeah.
Weatherneck, I think he was expecting to get a little bit more health back on that ultimate, and then he's just on the run from there. The Ornn gonna find the knockup with the Call of the Forged God, and that's gonna be it. It never ceases to amaze me, though, how much damage an Ornn does.
Yeah, we've played with Cassante in League of Legends for 3 years, so a lot of people forget that Ornn was the original mage, tank, fighter, assassin, warlock, paladin, death knight, necromancer, because he does everything. Oh, seen
They are
ultimate
going
coming
to
in
be
from
looking
Rel.
for an engagement. There's going to be the bullet time, but Braun blocking it fully, like you said in draft. If that happens, the fight's not being won by Summit, and now it's going to be Doom who's forced to pull out of this fight. BR just trying to hold things together, trying to hold down the fort. That tower is low on HP, and so is BR, as he's going to have to leave too. This could be first tower right here for Tilt.
Might not be first tower as Ryzini has the roam timer down. However, this is what people, I believe, I don't watch baseball, but I've heard the term unforced error in baseball, and this was sort of one of those. Rel, I guess, with 4 kills, was obviously confident with MF having the Bloodthirster, definitely wanted to start a fight. They said, okay, let's press our lead, and then they pressed all of their buttons. Rel didn't really get a good engage, and then MF dumped a full bullet time into Braum E, and when that happens, no matter what the item disadvantage is, you just lose the fight. And MF having to drop away for that again because Oriana had the roam timer, no harm, no foul, but it's still a lot of cooldowns burnt. The MF bullet time, the Rel ult. I don't know if MF flashed in that play. It does kind of look like she did, and again, just
She
really
did on
big
her way out.
unforced error from the bot lane of Summon Esports Phoenix.
They don't encounter Misfortune losing the shutdown, but definitely she is now in a very vulnerable position. Speaking of vulnerability, there is going to be the sleep from Lilia, and Rigor Mortis in a horrible spot, trying to get the snip kill, but Ryzini gonna get that shield, gonna survive just in time, and that's gonna be a huge pick onto Rigor Mortis.
Yeah, Rigor Mortis alone. And if you're alone as Gwen and the enemy team finds you, you kind of die. Especially if you don't have the damage to one-shot anyone. I really do want to see Rigor Mortis play a little bit more with...
Oh, here's a huge stun. Rel gonna find the Magnet Storm. Now Doom doing a ton of damage to Water. There's gonna be the bullet time. Can they finish it off? Water able to get away just in time to save his life.
Now see, that's where you do the bullet time. MF saw that the Braum and the Varus had sort of horizontally split off from each other, and that means your bullet time can actually do something. And it's good forcing Varus off of the wave, allowing him to crash. And yeah, I mean, they're learning from their mistakes. This is like most improved players of the last like 4 minutes because they reevaluated how they wanted to fight and were able to push Varus off of a wave. Again, not many concrete advantages coming from either of these bot plays. We do see a Wand Cake just solo take first tower with Demolish because top cap, I guess.
I'm
As
surprised they didn't go for the Rift Herald there. Why do you think Summit chose not to opt into Rift Herald?
they don't want to do Rift Herald because third Drake is spawning in 40 seconds, and I would hope that Summits recognize that they can sort of do whatever they want in terms of getting vision in the bot side. No, never mind. Lily's just walking to the Rift Herald late. Like, why do I even speak?
I'm surprised. I'm
I'm
surprised they
not
didn't go
nowhere.
for it right after the double kill mid. I guess they wanted to take the back first. But yeah, we do see that Rift Herald being taken right now. They're not gonna go for that bot dragon right away, but they do have Prio in both lanes at the moment.
Yeah, I actually was just taking a glance at Twitch chat and I noticed someone pointed out that Lilia has Sork shoes. I'm going to echo the sentiment um stated by Mid Too Easy and saying that we have Sork shoes Lilia into a Gwen Lysandra Braum. Like you can go Mercs and it's good. Like Lucidity is also fine. That's
I
default.
love Lucidity.
Sork's just like has to be wrong, right? No, I mean it is.
I'm a fan of Lucidity at all times, but that's my brain. But
Yeah, I
I
mean
do think
Lucidity's like
I do
not
see
bad.
where
Oh,
you're coming from.
3
I
bad
would say
sleep
Source
though.
probably is wrong. Huge sleep. Here's gonna be the call. The Forge God Wombo combo. Blooming blows coming out. Weatherneck finding his way into the back is gonna find Ryzini, but Misfortune still alive. But it looks like they're gonna completely collapse on. There was no front to backing that. The moment that Weatherneck got it is a double kill over to Rigor Mortis. Shut down over to Weatherneck. BR on the run, but they're not gonna get very far as Weatherneck on their tail. It looks like they actually did get out. But that was just a mess. You're expecting a front to back, and they kind of stepped too far up as Weatherneck came to that middle bush, and now that Hextech Dragon gonna go over to Tilt.
So the fight looked really good because BR had a huge flank in that sort of bot bush that sort of to the left of the dragon, and it looked good. You got the sleep. You got the ball, but Albino Sunbear sort of sneakily coming back from the enemy blue buff, wasn't caught in the initial engage, managed to find his way into the fight, and was able to get the CC down, sort of stop the kills from happening. As we're going to go over to the replay, this bowling ball, I kind of respect it. It's a good ult, and you have the rel to follow up, but the rest of the team isn't exactly in range. Rigor Mortis able to immune the initial brittle proc, and the Braum is able to block the knockup. Weatherneck is not caught up. Water is also not caught up. Weatherneck goes in, gets the initial play, and it looks kind of close. It's still one kill, but look at Albino Sunbear goes in, flashes, follows up on Weatherneck's engage, gets the ultimate down, and once these ults are down from the side of Summit Esports, they don't actually do anything. And so unless they're getting everyone in a good engage, the ball looked good, but there wasn't any actual damage being done with it. It was all put into the Gwen W and the Braum E, which it's like what we talked about for draft. Those are the tools that Tilt Esport has to mitigate this engage, and they use it correctly.
It also felt like there was just like two big problems here. One, they stepped so close to Weatherneck in that bush trying to finish off the people there that it just like Weatherneck was able to start that engage, and then Albino, like you said, capitalized on it. But I think the other thing is bullet time was down when that Wombo combo went off. So Doom just had no damage output.
Yeah, definitely. And some of these where's Phoenix, they have a really easy to execute team comp, which is at this level sort of a blessing and a curse. Like if we were playing in like Emerald or Plat or whatever, it's like, yeah, give the people that can't play the game like buttons to do things with. The problem with it as you get into higher levels is some of the esports can do one thing and they can't really do anything else. So if you're against players who know how to deal with that one thing and have drafted a composition that is pretty decent at dealing with that one thing, then what do you do? What does this MF do? I have a bloodthirster MF in a team fight where she's getting dove on by Renekton and Lissandra. She's not going to deal any damage if she's not getting like a 4-man ult. And that's sort of why I favor this tilt draft is Rigor Mortis, no fear, 6-3 or 6-3, looking for the kill on
On
Rysini.
Rysini, there's going to be the snip step going through. Not going to find a whole lot of it. That's going to be Gwen ult burnt for this Atacon fight.
Yeah, I mean, definitely burning the Orianna flash is realistically worth the Gwen ult. Like, I think, and Rigor Mortis is doing what he sort of needs to be doing on this Gwen. He has all of the golds, even if he's using it to buy suboptimal items. The Gwen champ is kind of broken, so Rigor Mortis is still able to, be the carry threat that Tilt needs, and he's going mid as well.
Lane. Misfortune already flashed, no cleanse up, and it's going to be Rigor Mortis who finds Doom. That's probably going to spell disaster for any chance at Atacon going over to Summit. A huge play from Rigor Mortis.
Yeah,
and I mean, on though. BR going to find Rigor Mortis. They're going to try to pull something back here. A lot of damage going through, but here's his team to come through. Is Blob going to find anything over that wall? Doesn't have flash. I'm not sure if he failed the flash. Flashed away earlier, but not going to find anything. We still have the ultimates there. Call of Fortune going to go through. Finds water, not Rigor Mortis, though. Rigor Mortis too far. Flashes forward. We're going to find Colin flashing as well. Fish trying to get in, but whether or not going to stop him. Now Rigor Mortis over the wall. Going to find Lilia. Going to find Rel. Rosini trying to get their way out. One Cake is just caught in a rock in a hard place. He's going to try to dash out as well, but he's not going to get super far. Does he have enough health to get the tower? Not looking like a Doom now coming back. Bullet time going to go through. Has it been long enough? Colin going to fall, but that's it. Only one kill pulled back for 4 teammates from Summit.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that Gwen kill on the Misfortune, but as I was saying, Rigor Mortis' job with all of the kills at this point in the game is to run in a straight line at the enemy carries when they're isolated, and he does exactly that. He has the gold, he has the money, he has the ghost, and we saw in that fight, even though he burned the Gwen ultimate on Orianna earlier, that ultimate is such a low cooldown that he can just throw it again in the team fight. He doesn't care, he's playing Gwen, the champ's broken, and he is doing an amazing job at pushing his advantage and bringing Tilt Esports back into this game.
Tilt Esports, one could even argue, might be having an advantage right now. It is 2 to 3 towers. They are up, though, about 1,000 gold. Hextech Drake spawning in 23 seconds. Bullet time going to be down for the spawning of this dragon, which might make it very hard to play for Summit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Summit Esports does have first move into this river. Without the bullet time, it is a little harder to make a play, especially now that Varus has this Edge of Night. It's really hard to get your CC abilities, but they have to find something with this control where they have to find a bush cheese. That's
Oh,
gonna be the
here,
W
Phil's
off
gonna
from Rel
find
though.
something. Be Swirl Seed was found on water, but no ult can go through. Albino trying to dive in, almost out of health immediately, but Weathermark is behind them. That's horrible for Summit. They're trying to run from Weathermark, but Weathermark losing a lot of health. There's going to be the sleep from Lilia. Rel goes down. Weathermark going to go down. Doom going to go down. Rigor Mortis is killing everybody. Ricini not going to get away. Only One-Kick able to. And we're finding the huge issues in Summit. They keep letting people on the flank, and when someone's on the flank, their comp falls apart.
Rigor Mortis looking for one cake. And this is the problem with some of esports draft because it looked playable, right? Albino Sunbear went in for the engage. He had to ult himself. Didn't really create enough space for his team to go in and like kill them. He had to flash out before the fight even started. But it doesn't matter because he was able to burn enough cooldowns, and Rigor Mortis is able to walk in a straight line that the enemy carries and kill them. What are they gonna do about it? They have no play. Their entire game plan revolves around 5 people hitting 5 ults on people, and if exactly that isn't happening, then they're going to lose.
Hasn't been happening since about the first 10 minutes of this game. We are having some serious peeling problems on this Gwen. And I throw out to you on Weatherneck as well. I feel like Weatherneck is the one who's finding a lot of these flank angles to allow Rigor Mortis to run into these teams. What's the play of your Summit? What do you think they need to do to try to prevent these flanks?
Some esports needs to strike first. They need to do what they did around that one dragon. Find Rig when he's isolated. Find him from fog and use their CC abilities on him to kill him before he is able to press his buttons. You need to get a numbers advantage because some of the esports they don't function without all 5 of their gamers in the same exact place, which is not good. It's bad, in fact, but it's sort of the only option that they have. Try and find a way to split tilt esports up. Maybe get your ultimates down when you've burned Gwen W when Braum is randomly somewhere else. You don't really have much options because you know if you make mistakes on a draft that's as one-dimensional as this, you don't have the luxury of having options to come back in. You don't have a hyper carry that you can play for. Your DPS carries are like Lilia into Lissandra Bromernectin, like cheers. That sounds playable. She bought a Rylite second. She's not going to deal any damage. Oh god, she has Stork's Rylite Okay, I will not speak. I'm gonna bring positivity to myself and this cast and not think about what this Lilia is buying.
It's not good, it's bad. Words from my casting partner who's bringing positivity to the Rift. The first League of Legends player to ever do it.
Definitely, I'm thinking positive. I'm thinking positive because while I hate Rig's itemization, like it's undeniable what he's doing this game. It makes me think that if Rig Mortis were to learn how to play one-shot Gwen, he could go Elo Sky. He could be the next savior of North America. You heard it here first on Titan. Titan Vanquisher League Rigor Mortis will save North America.
Rigor Mortis is NA's hero, NA men. He will be coming to be the Jesus of NA League. As a knockup going on Rigor Mortis, will he disappoint you, or will he be the savior that you need? He's diving in right now on One-Kick, gonna lose a lot of HP on that, down to about 3/4 of his health bar. Blobfish trying to find anything, but Rigor Mortis is on the flank. They have him scouted right now, though. Mid T2 going to fall from water as a fight about to start breaking out in this mid lane. Maybe we do have that Baron that has spawned right now. Next Hectic Dragon gonna be in 2 minutes. Blobfish trying to find an angle. Nothing being found just yet.
And to their credit, I mean, look at how Summit is playing. They burned the TP from Ryzini when they saw that Rigor Mortis was trading in the jungle. They know what they have to do, which is send 5 people to a place and hope it works. They definitely see their win con and they are fighting desperately to get back into the game. Problem is, it's on tilt to make a mistake at this point in the game. And while teams are always capable of making mistakes, BR
Oh, there
might
might
have
be a
been a
mistake. There's going to be the stuns going on Albino Sunbear. Blobfish. He goes over the wall, but there it is. Doom going to find him, and they're going to walk to that Baron. Is that the mistake Summit needed? Baron being taken. We're going to see Tilt start going to that mid lane. They're going to be looking for that T3 turret mid. They're going to look for that T2 turret bot. How quickly can Summit do Baron, and are they going to be able to get back to save that in him?
Definitely. I mean, we saw the pings instantly coming from the blue team. Rigor Mortis leading the charge. He doesn't care about this Orin, and as he should, and Rigor Mortis breaking the inhib tower, going to break the inhib himself. I mean,
There's
yes,
the Baron.
yeah, the Baron's going to go down. it's good on tilt to not make a bad play worse. Going for this inhibitor and this inner tower is 100% the correct play from tilt. But it,
They're going to
like
be
you
looking
said,
for some finishes, though. Rigamortis not going to get stunned here, but no back timing right now. It is only the 4 of them. Can they be found? Doom might have stepped up too much. Weatherneck going to find him. The cleanse going to go through. They're pushing forward. Bullet time barely going to do any damage here as BR running face first into a ton of damage. They're still stopping the back. Now, Lizandra going to be on that top wave trying to clear it out. Meanwhile, Summit now only taking their backs for the Baron.
yeah, definitely. It not necessarily a desperation play, but Summit definitely smelled blood in the water. If they were able to catch Tilt Esports a little more unaware, they would have been able to potentially find a pick before Albino Sunbear was able to respawn and teleport. However, now this gives Tilt Esports first move into the Dragon Pit. This is going to be their third Dragon if they're able to
Dragon
get
down to
it.
3,000 HP. Can Blah Blah bind it? The steal, it's real! The steal comes through from Lilia! Meanwhile, in the backline right now, Wandcake, this is not necessarily the best position you want to be in, but a huge deal right now. Weatherneck going to take a ton of damage, but there's Albino Sunbear stunning everybody! Blah Blah Fish going to flash out. There goes Misfortune. There goes Rysini. That's 2 Baron members down as the run from Blah Blah Fish. They find the Dragon, but they lose 2 Baron empowered champions.
I'm curious, with no losses on the side of Tilt Esports, we'll see what they go for. I think the safest play is to try and play for this top inner tower. I think an end is pretty greedy given the circumstances. Yeah, we see Rega Mortis, the only member of his team, doing the right thing and hitting the top wave. It seems they're looking for a 4-1, but now Rega
Oh,
Mortis didn't
BR
have
looking for a
teleport.
fight here. Weatherneck going to try to go in and prevent it, but he's going to go right in. The sleep's going to go through. He finds BR, but he's going to lose his life for it. There's going to be a huge play, though, from Albino Sunbear, who claims Blah Blah Fish. Wandcake going to take down Braum, and now it's Wandcake taking on Water and Albino Sunbear, while Gretton runs down the top side. Can he find Water? He's trying to go for the chase. One auto away. He's going to find Water, and now it's him versus Albino Suncake, and I don't think Albino Sunbear wants a piece of Wandcake. Gwen gonna be pushed off the T3 turret. What a brawl we have happening late into this game.
Definitely Summit Esports trying to find their opportunity. Rigor Mortis, the member with all of the gold, going up to this top lane, sort of, in my opinion, making the correct call. I think definitely at least someone that has, if you're going to do a 4-1, you send the Renekton top. Summit Esports, unfortunately, they lost too many members. The only real damage champion they had up was the Lilia, and Lilia is doing a bit of ultimate bravery with these items.
Norn.
So yeah, Ornn is I mean, Ornn did deal the damage, but I'm saying if MF and Orianna, or if MF or Orianna was up, that would have been a disaster class for Tilt Esports. Getting a bit too lax with their rotations, and I mean, some esports they clearly understand what they have to do to get back in this game. It's just contingent on more mistakes being made, just like a higher burden of execution because they are down so much gold in this game state with the draft that they have.
We're gonna get the pause right now as we patiently await the next few minutes of this game. Baron gonna be up in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Hextech Dragon gonna be up in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It could be Soul for Summit.
Definitely. And this Hextech Soul for Summit Esports is going to be absolutely huge if they're able to pick it up. No, not for Summit. Tilt is the one that no, right? Because
Summit is one dragon away.
Summit stole the dragon. So also very good on Blah Blah Fish for getting that. That is like a huge play for his team. Because even if they don't get this dragon, the fact that Blah Blah Fish was able to make that steal happen gives Summit Esports 5 more minutes to play League of Legends, 5 more minutes to get the items that you need, 5 more minutes to pray that the enemy team runs it down, which really is the fundamentals of the win con for some of these sports. And a steal like that, it doesn't like secure you the game, it doesn't win you the game. If for some reason Tilt Esports were to mess up again and give over that Hextech Soul, it's huge. But even if they don't, it gives some of these sports time to look for these plays that they're looking for, to keep fighting, keep the enemy team ready for keep make sure that the enemy team doesn't just like have a free win once they get a Varus with Edge of Night and Hextech Soul.
Yeah, and it can still definitely be anyone's game, like chat's saying. We do see 4,000 gold above Summit right now in the pockets of Tilt, but that Hextech Soul, I feel like it's going to be able to slow that Gwen down quite a bit from running straight into Doom. I think one of the biggest things we're seeing this game is Doom being the only AD threat, like you said, has been a huge issue for Summit.
Yeah, definitely so. And Miss Fortune is very limited in the things that she can do in this composition. Miss Fortune is not a particularly mobile character in combat. Yes, she has the strut, but it is very, very difficult for her to deal with these champions like the Lissandra, like the Renekton, that are constantly diving the backline, pressing one button on her and then killing her. And she really has to position in a way that she can get an uncontested bullet time, waiting for waiting out Gwen W and Braum E, and also balancing that with being able to then or before the bullet time be able to get her auto attacks and be able to trigger her passive on multiple people. So this is very, very unenviable position.
Definitely. And as we wait for this pause to go through, do you think this game is made significantly easier if Gwen is lethality, or are you turning your cheek right now for like having that Rift Maker? Because I
I
feel like that
mean,
Rift Maker has been a little bit useful.
I think that Rigor Mortis is playing on this Gwen well enough that it doesn't really matter what he builds. Ultimately, like the champ is just objectively broken. So as long as Rigor Mortis is doing his job in terms of running at the carries when he finds those angles and killing them, which is what he's doing, right? Like ultimately, like item builds are fake. Both junglers are playing Ultimate Bravery anyway. But if everyone's doing Ultimate Bravery, then really no one is. Obviously, like the one shot build gives you like a little more opportunity to do funny things. Like you could kill a Lilia with your ultimate just on its own. You don't really even have to burn your W to do that. It's like part of the minutia. But if this is like with the Conqueror and the Bruiser build, I mean, Rigor Mortis is a Bruiser player at heart. He plays Viego, he plays Volibear, he plays Wukong. If he is more used to this style of having more HP to work with and sort of just running in without a care of the enemy team, then do it. Like play what you're comfortable with. Who am I to judge? I mean, I'm going to judge anyway, but who am I to judge?
I'm going to judge anyways. That is the replacement for Seder here is just slowly becoming Seder more and more, and I love it. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, we got both objectives coming up in 2 minutes and a half. Who do you favor taking each objective right now? Like, what team do you think one team should prioritize Baron over that Hextech Dragon? Do you think it's just go for Hextech Dragon no matter what? Do you think any team would
I
benefit more from Baron right now?
I think that it would be in Tilt's best interest to deny some esports getting the Tech Soul for free. It's if you don't end with the Baron that if you are Tilt and you trade Baron for Soul and you don't end with that Baron, you put yourself in a weirder spot than you realistically have to. And we've seen like I mean Tilt Esports has been playing very well, but it's not been perfect, especially with what I've been pointing out like from the early game, especially with these lane assignments and these map rotations, which is sort of what you need to end with the Baron, when you have that gold lead. So as we're
Oh,
back,
and we are back as we see Tilt taking over that dragon pit after the spawn. We are 2 minutes and about 2 minutes away from both objectives spawning. We're going to be seeing them prioritizing that T. Oh, we're having some pause glitches here. That those towers are definitely falling. You can see on the map the correct towers that are up, but I believe they're going to be staying with us for the rest of the game. These towers, every tower on the map, being able to spy on the stream, saying I'm not actually destroyed. I'm right here watching you guys.
yeah, definitely. And I'm really glad to see Rigor Mortis do exactly what he needs to do, which is sit in the enemy jungle and not let anyone walk in. Best way to stop them from getting a Hextech Soul is to not even let them in their own jungle. Obviously, it's a minute 44 seconds, and they're going to need to take at least like one more reset to reset their vision line. But if One Cake was, if anyone but a One Cake pretty much face checked that portal, they were dead. Rigor Mortis was going to kill them with the pair of oversized scissors. So definitely choosing not to trade this Baron. I mean, based on how they're clicking out of base, we see a lot of pings towards mid wave, gonna go into the enemy bot jungle, which is, in my opinion, just like correct. Let's tilt playing for their conditions. Yes, they will not get the XX soul, but realistically, like what is Summit Esports gonna do? Are they gonna start Baron? I don't deal any damage to that thing. So as long as Tilt Esports have at least like one ward or even like a blue trinket available to keep vision on it, they will be able to just finish the Drake and then run to the Baron, kill them, and win the game pretty consistently, as long as they're awake.
Seeing the mid-wave battle stay on right now as Tilt going to be walking into that river, trying to keep that mid-wave clear. We're seeing Summit seem to prioritize towards Baron, which is spawning in about 15 seconds. It does have that 10-second prio. Maybe they can try to force a fight, but they don't have Wand Cake with them. And like you said, you want all 5 if you're going to try to make a play. We're going to see the Swirl Seed land on Sunbear, but nothing going to come of it right now. Rel looking for a flangle here. We have Wand Cake walking up as well. All 5 contained. Are we going to see maybe a Magnet Storm come out? Anything from BR? Not yet. All 5, though, forced to be together right now. Swirl Seed going to knock the shield away from water. Still, Dragon has just spawned. We're going to be seeing Rigor Mortis go straight to it. There's going to be the Magnet Storm. It's going to fight 2. Bullet Storm. It takes out water immediately. Colin's going to fall as well. Blah, blah, bitch, trying to defend Doom, but Doom gonna go down. Albino Sunbear going to find him really quickly. Here comes Weatherneck and Rigor Mortis. It's a 4v2 right now. Rigor Mortis losing a lot of HP. Can Blah, blah, bitch and Rizini find anything? Weatherneck is able to find a lot of damage on BR, but Rigor Mortis gonna go down now. It's a huge play from Summit. They lose Doom, but they have enough damage to get them through the fight. An amazing Magnet Storm, an amazing bullet time, and it's going to allow them to claim Hextech Soul.
Where was Rigor Mortis? The
He
fight.
was at Dragon.
Oh no! Was he hitting the Drake? I couldn't really see on the minimap.
Yes, yes,
Oh.
he was.
Oh, his team ran him down. When you're it's such a terrible feeling when all you have to do is just tell your team just not to die for these X amount of seconds. But Summit Esports finding the angle, they know Rigor Mortis. I don't even know if they know. I don't know if they had vision, but they just saw that Rigor Mortis wasn't there and they found their angle. I mean, it was such a good engage by BR. They were able to kill water in the initial play BR, burning down the Edge of Night. I didn't really see how the Braum E was used, but regardless, water wasn't able to play the game of League of Legends. Renekton didn't really get to play the game of League of Legends in the sense that he doesn't have enough damage to kill anyone without Rigor Mortis or water alive. And it's they have one win condition. If Rigor Mortis is there, you win the fight, and if he isn't, you don't. And some Esports finding their mark, finding their angle. They look like they want more, looking for to play into water.
So immediately, Water forced to flash away. He's going to miss the Chains of Corruption. Here comes Watercake with the call of the Forge God, but he's caught a little bit out as Weatherneck trying to dive on Doom. Weatherneck going to be forced to run away. Bullet Time going to find Weatherneck, but now Bullet Time is down. Water still up. Rigor Mortis still up. There's going to be the sleep. Blob Fish going to find Water. Colin going to go down next. Rigor Mortis' team is falling all around him. BR still trying to catch Rigor Mortis. Slow going to go on to Albino Sunbear. There's going to be some more blooming strikes. Bye, Albino Sunbear. Rigor Mortis, it's you against the world, and you're not winning. The ace goes through. Is that going to be it? They are marching into the base of Tilt. The Hextech Soul slows, and the game looks like it's going to go over to Summit.
Rigor Mortis saw his shadow, and NA is doomed for another 6 weeks. Summit Esports, from the jaws of defeat, sees victory in in what feels like a miraculous turnaround. And that, my jaw is frankly to the floor, as Tilt Esports had the game in their hands, ran it down once, and then also ran it down again. We saw in that last fight, Gwen W was burned super early, Braum E was burned super early, and Summit Esports Phoenix were able to hold enough resources. They were able to hold the Lily asleep. They were able to hold all of these abilities. And when the defensive capabilities of Tilt Esports dropped away, Summit Esports Phoenix were able to press their buttons and win. Romeo, what are your thoughts on that game?
The world's greatest pause occurred because as soon as the pause ended, it felt like Summit knew exactly what to do and just went wild. I think it's interesting to see how well Summit played after that pause. I think they just took a minute while Wand Cake DC'd and had that breather, and it felt like from there, like we see in the first fight, BR is finding their angle in the Magnet Storm. They have the vision in the top. They have all their team kind of playing towards where they know that Rigor Mortis isn't, though they didn't have vision on him on Dragon. They knew Rigor Mortis isn't on that top side of the map because of BR, and all of them started playing towards where BR was, and they played together, which was nice. We found BR and Wancake always giving them the space towards the end for Doom, Ryzini, and Blob to try and just peel around Weather Neck and then go into the 5. But we also seen Rigor Mortis, like you said, not with his team and his team getting engaged on. I feel like Rigor Mortis not being with his team near the end was really weird.
Yeah, definitely. I will give some of these sports a lot more credit than you're giving. I think that they were playing to their conditions even before the pause. I more so think the pause gave Tilt Esports an opportunity to forget how to play League of Legends and forget what they needed to do. Because some of the esports has been looking. They've been trying to find picks when Rigor Mortis was gone. We saw it happen when Rig was pushing in the top lane, and it just sort of went to varying levels of success. But the second that pause came back, it felt like Tilt Esports sort of just like put took their foot off of the gas. They started playing sloppy, and Summit Esports was ready to punish.
Summit Esports able to punish enough to find that game 1 victory. I think one thing I love seeing, weirdly enough, is I like these easy comps where you want 5 together, you want to front the back, because I find they're successful. I feel like every stream we've watched this week in Vanquisher, the team with the easier comp to execute has been winning for the most part. I wonder if that's going to continue into game 2. Is there like any changes you want to see either of these teams make when we go into this game 2 draft?
Um, like full respect to Rig. I kind of want to see him back on his more patented style of jungle. Um, the Gwen looked good. It looked really, really good until it didn't. And the sort of burden of execution when you are on that like 12, that 12 kill Gwen, you have all of the gold. I mean, it's not like just on him. I'm not trying to say that it's just on him, but his team clearly like also doesn't know how to play around it. There's a lot of times where Rig is doing what I feel like is the correct call, and his team is like, frankly, just like effing off doing something random and doing something else. So this is like genuinely like 100% like not Rigor Mortis Flame, but I don't think that he has like the structure around him to carry on these picks because he's doing well, but we see time and time again, Rigor Mortis is solo, the only one pushing for that inner tower, and his team is like getting caught and fighting in the enemy like bot base gate, or Rigor Mortis is denying the soul and his team is walking too close to the rel, and ultimately like if Rigor Mortis needs to be the one to sort of rein them in, then there may be like a different style of champion that may be better equipped to do that. Maybe someone that's better at starting the fights on its own.
Well, with that, we are going to go ahead and send it to a quick break before we see if these changes are made. If we see Summit either finish it off or force Tilt to fall, or if Tilt is able to pull it together as a team and not force it to be Rigor Mortis against the world. We will only find this out in Game 2, so we're going to go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere, and we'll see you at the Game 2 draft. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as we get into everyone's favorite game show on Titan, Kiss, Marry, and Kill. Tonight's skins, we have Arcane Brawler Vi, Prestige Arcane Caitlyn, and Armor of the 5th Age Tarek. Let us know in the chat right now who you would kiss, who you would marry, and who you would kill.
Definitely, this is my first time on this segment, so I'll let you take the lead on your opinion.
Well, you guys can see below, once again, everyone is very similar. I think me and Loki actually have some difference in opinion, but we'll start with you because it's your first time. I like to hear the new people's answers.
No.
Cherry, you said that you would kill Tarek, which is messed up of you, marry Caitlyn, and kiss Vi. Explain this to me. Explain your reasoning here.
While Tarek looks absolutely fabulous in this splash art, I fear that he may this is for perhaps a different target demographic than I personally fit in. And I would, for you, Romeo, you can have all of Armor of the 5th Age Tarek, but for me personally, not my cup of tea, perhaps.
Well, why kiss Vi, marry Caitlyn? What's the philosophy here?
Vi is like vaguely scarier. She looks like she's going to kill me, and yeah, Vi terrifies me.
You've watched Arcane, I take it, right?
Yes, I have.
Caitlyn is the most annoying character to ever set.
No. Hold on, we are going to
annoying character I've ever laid my eyes on.
We are going to say that Caitlyn is more annoying than Vi in Arcane.
Yes.
Vi lost like 9 separate fights, had like 5 different crying scenes, and you're telling me that Vi was not the most annoying bitch in that series. No, you are insane.
Outside of the end of season 2, Caitlyn does nothing. Caitlyn is just there, cries that she wants to do her own thing, and then gets everyone else to do everything for her, and then she cries more that mommy's dead, and then she cries more, oh boo-hoo, mommy's dead. It's Rutel, everyone's mom's dead. Everyone's mom is dead.
No, I will not take Caitlyn's slander. She is the only one willing to actually to put a plan in motion.
Jinx, Vi, Silco, Vander, Jace, Victor,
Let me rephrase that. Vi is the only one not willing to put in plan in motion. What did she do?
Fair.
She fucking mopes around the entire season. She leaves her sister.
Mommy.
I'm not going to engage with that premise at all. All I will say is that Vi in Arcane is an annoying character, and I'm glad. Nope, I'm not gonna finish that.
I also throw to you, if I had my choice, it would be kill Vi, kill Caitlyn, marry, and kiss Tarek, because I fucking hate both those characters. I think Vi and everything about Arcane is perfect, except for Vi and Caitlyn. I want to point out, and I get it, this is leaving the premise of the game a little bit. Vi and Caitlyn, fuck, while Jinx is about to off herself.
That happens to the best of us.
No, it does. What? Hold up. Okay. My opinion, I think, is pretty clear. Now, of course, wait. What do you mean it happens to the best of us?
I mean nothing, but I thought it's the funniest thing to say at the time.
Beaver Valley in chat has my back. Kiss Vi, marry Carrick, kill Caitlyn. I have Golden and Loki saying they agree with Chelsea.
Because I'm correct, yes.
I don't think you are. Like, I get it, but I don't. Like, you can say on looks, sure. I think personality, we have two of the most annoying characters in League in front of us.
I think saying that during Arcane Vi was close to as that Caitlyn was anything close to as annoying as Vi is genuinely an insane take.
Okay, wait. Okay,
I think how crazy it is to spend 2 seasons of League's animated show getting your ass beat on repeat.
Okay, yeah, Vi sucks. I agree, but so does Caitlyn.
Caitlyn threw hands with Mbessa. She is a sniper, but she rose to the challenge.
For the last 3 episodes, she's okay at best. Like, when she beats the shit out of Vi with her gun, she's okay at best. But that's like Savika's better than her.
Okay,
Jinx is better than her.
Okay,
almost every other woman in the show is better than her.
My take is that Caitlyn should have taken the shot, and Vi having her not take the shot is an L on Vi's character.
Okay, I agree with that. We can agree on that at least.
Yeah, and okay, but whose fault was that? Whose fault was that? Caitlyn wanted to take the shot. But Vi is... I don't want to swear on cast. Vi was the one that caused the problem. Vi is the one that has caused all of these problems.
I said like 3 swears in my sentence beforehand. You feel free. With that, we are gonna get into the draft here as our producer talks about how blessed my mouth is to have never said a swear on cast, because I am the angel of casting and nothing but a goody two-shoes. Now we're gonna start off with some of these bans here before Golden can say anything. Summit going to ban away the Viego and the Volibear once again. It looks like we're getting a triple ban on the Church of Rigor Mortis.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Summit Esports, you saw that Rigor Mortis, again, due to no fault of his own, where Rigor Mortis had the game-winning ball and they still were not able to convert. And so if you're Summit Esports, just ban 3 of the Rigor Mortis champions. Maybe you hope that he doesn't have any bruisers. If you're Rigor Mortis, you hope that your team doesn't run you down this time. That's what I'm doing if I'm Rigor Mortis personally. Tilt Esports opting not to ban the Rumble, but instead opting to ban the Mbessa and choosing to B1 the Senna. Honestly, I mean, we saw it last game as well, Tilt Esports just sort of taking best in slot B180 carry on blue last game, and now that one is gone, you just pick Senna instead. As the Smolder being picked in response, actually a pretty common like answer into Senna. The concept is that if you don't trade with Senna and you stack on your minions and Senna is like getting a soul every 14%, it's
wow.
Favored.
Trundle being picked. I don't think I've seen a Trundle in Vanquisher in a little bit. I love a good Trundle, but like Trundle jungle or Trundle top? What are we hoping for here?
So Trundle jungle has seen a bit of a resurgence. He got buffed around like 2 patches ago to reduce his pillar cooldown. It took him a little while to start seeing play, but Trundle is a pretty common answer into champions that Rigor Mortis plays, like the Xin Zhao, like the Volibear jungle, like the Wukong as well, 2 of which are banned, so it sort of seems counterproductive pulling Trundle if you ask me. Maybe it is a flex, but we do see this Jax picked up. There's 2 ways that this could be taken. I'm not particularly familiar with a lot of top lane pools of either of these players. The take is either that this Trundle is only going top and you're just putting the Jax into the Trundle in top lane and that's a winning matchup for the Jax. Or if you think that this Trundle is a jungle flex and Rigor Mortis feels comfortable on the Jax jungle, the Jax is a bruiser type champion that beats Trundle in the jungle. So it really will depend on the versatility of these champions.
Trundle support.
Oh, he said Trundle support.
Hear me out. Trundle support.
Yeah, I mean, you could put Trundle support into Nautilus. It's like a decent matchup in isolation, but you're picking Trundle support into Senna Smolder. Like, okay.
Senna Nautilus, you have a Smolder.
I meant the Senna Smolder matchup.
It's not.
Okay, it's not Trundle support. It's not Trundle support. We're saved.
It's unfortunate. I can dream, damn it. I can dream of the Trundle support coming out. Annie gonna come out for Tilt to Seder being super excited.
Yeah, we are getting a lot of very common problems. We saw the Talia blind on R3. That is just like the mid laner of all time. You pick Talia and it's like fine into most things. Annie is definitely a matchup that doesn't get punished as hard by Talia. Genuinely, if Annie is able to get a lead, she presses E on herself, runs in a straight line at the Talia, and then the Talia dies
Talia
horribly
jungle.
violently. Yeah,
Unless
no,
it's Jace
it's
top.
no, it's just top jungle Talia mid. No,
What if it's Jace mid, Trundle top, Talia jungle?
that would be. I don't think does Trundle beat
It's
Camille?
not. It's not.
Okay, yeah, but I'm not.
I thought it'd be fun. Satyr said if they don't go Jace here, that's crazy, and they insta-lock Jace. I feel like Trundle's somehow, or Satyr's somehow coaching these teams, even though these drafts are pre-recorded.
No,
yeah,
I mean
so
he's a nowhere, right? Like this is we see the Senna Smolder as a matchup that's picked a lot in like pro leagues and stuff. The Annie is a champion that's been seeing a lot of resurgence. I mean, I frankly ever since they rebranded to LTA, I stopped really caring about pro. I don't think that Jax jungle is sort of a premium pick that we see, but a lot of these other champions are very, very, very common in these like high execution scenarios. I really think that I like Summit Esports draft a little more. I think it's really going to be on Albino Sunbear, on the Annie to really be the difference maker, because he has to be the one getting these like flash engages and CCing up the Smolder and the Jace or the Smolder and Talia. I sort of was left a little wanting by the Lissandra in the mid to late game. We saw a few fights where Albino Sunbear was really making it happen, especially in the early game around those early dragons. He sort of faded into the background as it got to late game. I didn't really see that impact coming out from the Lissandra, and the Annie this game has a pretty much identical role as Lissandra last game, where your job is to go in, disrupt, get your damage down before you die, and could be a redemption, a glow up arc. Looking at Rigor Mortis as champion, this Jax is sort of a happy medium in terms of like Jax is not like a Wukong Jarvan champ where he has that like same like early game strength. Jax is definitely a little more of like a late game skewed champion, but
yeah.
definitely has a much better like primary engage, having the like E jump or E like Q flash, even like with the AoE engage, a little bit more of a happy medium. And when his champ pool is getting targeted, I definitely like to see him on a champion like this. I mean, as much as I hated his build last game, Rigor Mortis was, performing very, very well. And he, again, has a lot of setup in this Nautilus, this Senna, this Annie, and also, like, Camille coming from a flank. Hopefully they just tighten up the execution for Tilt's sake, that they're going to be able to have a game similar to last week's. Or
Yeah, and I'm just hoping there's no pause that makes them fall apart immediately after. I think that's the big thing we need to not happen for Tilt. As much as I'm joking about that, I'm trying to figure out what their comp does into Summit. I think that's my
Tilt,
hard thing seeing right now, because I feel like their comp is really hard to play early, and I feel like late they still don't.
the
I
early
don't know.
game, win condition is that you get Annie 6 and then you stun the Talia until she dies.
I
That's your win
guess.
con. I would okay. I would have liked to see Rigor Mortis having up to the top side matchup. This Camille Jace is, I wouldn't say a lot more volatile because both of these champions can scale into the late game, but they're more vulnerable to ganks. Camille has a lot of setup, and I would have liked to see Rigor Mortis try and like swing this top lane matchup in the earlier game. Last game we saw a one cake R5 Ornn and absolutely crush Weatherneck's skull, for lack of a better term. Weatherneck did have like some decent like team fight angles, but in terms of like the laning 1v1, a one cake just did put up an objectively better performance. And the bot lane is Senna Smolder, so you can just leave that. Both lanes should be relatively safe. Just don't get hit by the enemy team's hook. We see a one cake spots out Rigor Mortis on this blue buff, and if he's on blue buff at 230, this means that Rigor Mortis is doing some like Wolves Gromp blue. Oh no, he's
Some
just going
weird
into.
clear,
I
but
mean, no, he's looking for the mid gank. This is like a
yeah.
4-3 camp mid, and I mean, Annie does have the Sunrise. He seems none the wiser, which is crazy.
Oh,
He is
here's
kiting
gonna be
out
the
the bot
stun's
side.
gonna go
The
through.
flash.
Flash is away. He's gonna find the flash. Rigor Mortis flash trade for Ryzini's, as that's a lot of time lost for Ryzini for just a flash for flash trade.
Okay, so I initially said that Ryazini seemed none the wiser, but right as I said that, Ryazini made the right decision and started clicking towards that bottom side. A wand cake using his early lane prio to get Vision of Rigor Mortis on the blue. And if you have like simple counting skills outside of Summon Esports Phoenix, you can kind of realize that Rigor Mortis' only real play for the next 45 seconds is to gank mid from topside. So all Ryzini needs to do is click towards bot lane and not die. Obviously, like it kind of sucks if Jax is willing to like burn his flash and trade it with yours because Annie does have a point and click stun. But there's a lot of worlds where Ryzini just dies there, and because he has the phase rush and because he was able to click in the proper direction, he is able to get out with a flash for flash
Oh,
trade
Blob
as
Blob Fish here coming for Albino Sunbear. It is going to be Rigor Mortis who's here as well to
oh,
join this fight. Albino holding the stun. He's going to find it on Ryzini. Ryzini nowhere to go. Is going to cry himself to sleep as he finds himself the first blood. Blob Blob Fish able to find the kill, and it's going to be the lantern out as we see another hook come in. The fight's not done. Calling going to flash over the wall onto Blob Blob. Blob Blob trying to flash away now. BR knocking them back. There's going to be a huge pillar as BR waiting to see if he needs to flash. He's not going to. Just threatening the flash is enough to save his teammates' lives. And it's a 1-for-1 trade overall. A lot of subs burn. We're seeing Trundle flash down. We're seeing Ryzini flash down. Albino Sunbear flash down. Water. Oh my god! There's going to be the hook, the line, and the sinker as the root's going to go on to BR. Doom trying to stop him from dying. The flash over the wall. Lantern out. Another flash burn. So many suns. A much hotter start than last game.
but my Talia is casting W into like behind the Trundle pillar. If I don't know if I can feel the frustration from Flop Up Fish through the screen. It looked like a really good play. They found the angle onto Albino Sunbear, but not able to correctly do God's most basic CC chain, as it does still end up as a 1-for-1. Colin, we saw with that hook at the end there, very very I'm sorry, like I had a point that I was gonna make, but I think it's more important for me to point out the fact that this is support item Senna with teleport Doran Shield Nautilus. Anything I could say that wasn't that is completely irrelevant because what are we looking at here, Romeo? I mean, I know what we're looking at. I just want to hear you talk about it.
Roaming Nautilus goes crazy here, right?
No, what we're looking at is not really understanding patch notes per se.
Oh,
And
there's going to be a
walking
huge
to
hook right now
forward.
from Threat. The pillar going to go through in water. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to run except to the gray screen. As once again, we find supportal combats as the support picks up the kill.
So yeah, if we look at the patch notes, the Senna buffs that cause Senna to go really really crazy on the patch with this farming build, this Shiv build, was that Senna's crit rate from Soul on kill, on minion kill, went up to like 14-15%, which is generally an indicator that you go farming Senna. Like regardless if you like don't read patch notes, you can just see that everyone is playing farming Senna. There's like the variations like the Shiv into crit, so like Shiv into cleaver into crit. You go farming Senna. And instead we have teleport carry Nautilus. And I don't know if this guy just like joined me on the Nautilus with gold, but I could have a farming Senna. Instead my Senna is built a ruby crystal and a boots, which I think best case scenario is Black Cleaver Rush. Which to be fair, Black Cleaver is like not a bad item in this game, right? Like that's not the point I'm trying to make. Like you have a Jax, you have a Camille, Black Cleaver is good, but we are playing Senna into Smolder. We're guaranteed like a lane where we're not going to be pressured. We can farm, and then we can go Shiv, and then we can go Black Cleaver, and then we can deal damage, and we can not have a Teleport Door and Shield Nautilus in my game of League of Legends. See where I'm going with this, Romeo?
You don't. What I'm hearing is right now you wish that Water had taken the TP and was still playing support.
No, I mean like honestly,
Yeah.
honestly, if Senna went TP, like it wouldn't even be terrible. Like you can go like teleport and these
I feel like you don't care about what Water takes as long as Water is the ADC.
yeah, that's a great summary of the absolute like mental breakdown that I'm having over here. I had someone remind me at like around like 17 to 18 minutes to get like a Senna soul check because I'm curious to see what it is. I also feel like Senna's like support item Senna like only viable with Blood Song, and I'm pretty sure they nerfed Blood Song like a bunch since the last time that, not like recently, but like patches and patches ago. I don't see the vision.
Oh no.
Like,
Oh no. Is Smolder gonna miss cannon? No, they're good. They're good. They got the cannon. Meanwhile, top lane. Feet of Warfare gonna be claimed as we're gonna see a big fight break out down here. Water gonna go down immediately. Colin once again, nowhere to run except the gray screen. The question is, who's going to get the kill? Surely they give it over to Smolder or to Leah, as we see BR backing off a little bit, just claiming minions. Ryzini going to kill Colin. It's a 5-1 game for Summit right now. Blobfish gonna get stunned up by Albino Sunbear. Waterton Cakes too far away. Shutdown gonna go over to Rigor Mortis, and this game is starting to feel eerily similar to last game.
Yeah, I mean, it feels similar to last game in the fact that Rigor Mortis is playing League of Legends and he's getting kind of run down. Yeah, let's look at the replay for this top play. Waves pushing to Wandcake Weatherneck, feels like he has to crash it. Wandcake is playing Jace. The pillar gets very good use of the pillar to cancel that Camille E. That is sort of what you have to do as the Trundle, and the Trundle did it. Great job on him. No notes. Is this gonna be an all-in? It looks like it's probably just gonna be a trade as a Wandcake.
Just a little health trade.
A Wandcake has tab eyes, so it doesn't really take damage from Camille, right? Oh, yo, this guy like. No, that's mean.
He's flexing on him. He's flexing on him.
I'm going to spread positivity and not comment on that Camille Hawk shot.
Spreading positivity in League of Legends check ×2. Here's going to be the hook coming through as it's a 3v1 on Colin. The TP going to be coming through as Mom is called upon. Hi, Mom. Colin still on the run. Flash already down. Doom on top of him. The dredge line going to allow him to dash away, but the hook comes through from Thresh, and that's going to spell the end for Colin as BR once again picks up the kill. I've never seen a support get so many kills in League.
I definitely like the play coming out of Southern Esports Phoenix. The one thing I will point out is that Talia TP'd, I guess anticipating a fight, but she didn't really have that ultimate. I think it was a bit hasty of a teleport, causing her to like drop a wave. Again, she's still up in farm. Mid gap, I guess. Rigor Mortis looking for the play.
Rigor Mortis gonna find the stun here, and are forced to flash over the wall once again.
Yeah, and I mean, Rigor Mortis active on the map, trying to make these plays happen. 2-0-0 on the Jax, just doesn't have the
stacks.
gold. All right, and so we are 70 stacks at 10 minutes, and this is what Support Center does. Support Center gets a bunch of stacks.
Sunbear, Subjugate is huge, and the jump, as there is Trundle finding another kill.
Have you been waiting all game to do that?
Yes, I have.
I appreciate the honesty and I respect the commitment to the bit.
Someone has to. I forget. I don't even remember his name. It's a new guy who does it all the time. Wandcake in the Hextech Ultimatum. Can he find the kill? Weatherneck down to 1 HP. Wandcake probably one hit away as well. But Wandcake, by the way, this is a sub-top laner in for Summit. And he has low-key been the dark horse of Summit for both games. He is finding winning matches in the top lane. His CC is incredible. Wandcake is the ultimate sub of Vanquisher.
Yeah, definitely. I think last game, Wandcake as a substitute, maybe TES.
Oh, there's going to be the death sentence, and it's going to follow up its name as Mom comes in, and Rigor Mortis comes out. Ryzini picking up the kill.
Yeah, rest in peace, Rigor Mortis. As I was saying, Wandcake, it felt like last game, the Ornn pick felt a little reserved. You know, it felt like Wandcake had an opportunity to pick something that would be even more dominant in lane. I think what I suspect happened is Wandcake sort of saw the advantage he got in lane last game in Renekton Ornn and decided, this guy is worse than me. I can R5 me Jace, I'll win. Wandcake, a player known for his competency on these carry picks like the Mbessa, like the Jace, and is showing it. Obviously, Camille as a champion scales a lot into the late game, and you know she has died twice. It's going to be really hard for her to get to that 24 spike. Wandcake able to just get an early tab eyes and just not really.
Colin not realizing BR's in that bush, misses the dredge line on Doom. And I feel like even if that dredge line connects, it still probably spells disaster for him. I don't know if Water has enough damage to help win that fight. The death sentence, though, on Water. Doom gonna find a ton of damage on Water here. Cleanse gonna go through from Water as that fight they're forced to back out of real quickly. Stack check right now. Senna's at 53, Smolder at 92.
Okay, so Senna does not have 70 stacks.
No. Our stat checker was a little bit broken, but Albino Sunbear, proving why Annie's broken, finds the versus the flash cleanse, and BR still gonna go down from Albino Sunbear. Albino Sunbear trying to make plays around this map to pull his team back into this game. It's a big shutdown.
Yeah, definitely. As we get back into the topic of stacks, I mean, definitely 70 stacks at 10 minutes is like kind of insane. To be honest, when I saw that number, I was like, damn, that's more than I thought it was. Maybe this guy's cooking on the
Well,
fasting Senna.
Ryzini about to get cooked if Sunbear can find a stun.
He's still looking. Oh, he's not looking no more.
Nah, it's too late. The Chomper's behind him. He's feeling good. The Chain Chomp ready to run through.
Yeah, and definitely we see like 50 stacks is still like more than farming Senna would have at this point. But farming Senna will also just have more money, and Smolder is sort of doing what he wants. Is they're gonna
Water
play.
up here right now. Death Sun is going to go through on Albino Sunbear. Does not matter if your support's up here, if everyone is on top of you and you're going down immediately.
Yeah, and a very good play. Talia just hitting the raw W onto the enemy mid laner, and good follow up by BR on the hook. It's a great roam timer. I mean, Smolder's at a point in the game where he has an Essence Reaver, and he's facing against a fasting Senna and Sunfire Cape Nautilus, so he's not really scared of dying. Oh my god, it's Sunfire Rush Nautilus.
Towers about to fall right now. One
Sunfire
of the
Rush
things I love about
Nautilus.
Trundle.
What am
Wait,
I?
is Sunfire Rush Nautilus wrong?
No, I think Nautilus just having a completed item is just like setting off like alarm bells in my brain. I mean, yeah, you need the wave clear from like bombies, but it's like, yeah, we made our Senna fast so I could go buy a Sunfire Cape on my Nautilus. Like, what are we doing?
And as you
What
can
are
tell
we
from the
doing?
caster booth, Cherry J losing their mind. Gonna lose even more now
No,
that
I
I
am
called him
not Cherry
Cherry
J.
J.
Like, what are we doing?
Cherry Coke losing their mind. So,
Uh,
and it looks like Albino Sunbear might be losing their mind as well, as the death sentence going to hurt big time. Mom misses, but I don't. Oh, actually, Mom missing is going to allow Albino Sunbear to escape with their life.
no Rick and Mortis.
VR trying to run, but Rigor Mortis trying to get the chase down, but there's going to be Blob. The subjugate's going to come out and force Rigor Mortis away.
Someone save Rick and Mortis. That's a flash of someone who's like, I need to kill something soon or we're going to lose. Rigor Mortis has the Triforce and he has the Malignance. I mean, BR, especially in like the past few minutes, has just sort of taken complete control of this like area below mid lane and is just putting so much pressure. We saw the play happen with the Talia, and now another play happening onto the Annie with the Smolder this time. I mean, Smolder just having hit his 125 stack mark at about 15 minutes. This is for Smolder 80 carry. This is about like on pace, not behind pace, not above pace, not like super above pace. And you know, when you are up 4k gold, as long as your Smolder is not like super far behind pace, you're chilling. Wand Cake is gonna scale. This Talia is gonna scale. They have this like really dangerous poke core of this like Smolder, this Talia, this Jace, and it really requires tilts to find like a huge engage angle. And if they can't find that engage, Summon Esports is gonna just press their skill shots onto the enemy team until they die as Ryzini.
Ryzini on a flank angle here, not going to be able to find what he was looking for.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the play doesn't like work out the way Ryzini hopes for, but looking for these angles using Talia's move speed, you know, looking to start these CC chains onto the squishy carries of Tilt Esports is what Summon Esports wants to be doing. They use that prio to get an uncontested third Drake, and Tilt Esports like they can't get anything. Like what is up on the top side? Maybe you can kill Ryzini if Ryzini doesn't respect the possibility of a cross map. You could nope. I mean, Wandcake's gonna TP as well, so 2 members strong. Summon Esports not gonna lose anything, or maybe they'll lose something depending on how Rigor Mortis is going to.
Rigor Mortis stunned against the wall right now. Ryzini getting some damage out. Water has split up the Wand Cake and Ryzini combo. Water trying to get some poke damage from Wand Cake, but they're just losing so much time. The Weaver's Wall going to go through as they engage on Wand Cake, but now they're stuck under the turret. The shutdown goes over to Weatherneck, but Weatherneck got in a rocket hard place. X-Tech ultimatum going to be able to use to get them out of there. Blobfish trying to flash forward.
Look at the flank.
Not able to find the subjugate on Weatherneck. Is forced to use it on Water, but Ryzini going to be able to knock Rigor Mortis a little bit closer. Is able to find Rigor Mortis right now. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Death sentence on Water, and oh god, everyone is stuck in the corner as Doom and BR are here to save the day. Oh, the TP gets Weatherneck out. but still 4 lives on Tilt is lost. What is your opinion on this?
It started. I mean, you kind of have to look for something there. A one cake playing like a little too far into Tilt Esports' face. They get the kill, it's good. They just don't have enough resources to get out. While we were watching that fight, actually, Doom and BR going on a 2-man flank mission towards that control ward that the red side has into the enemy blue buff. And they're able to find and subsequently kill the Annie. And off of that kill, they were able to get behind. And the fact that Tilt Esports had not been able to make their way out of the play means that they were just easy pickings for the Smolder. As we see the replay of this fight, Albino Sunbear desperately trying to make the fight happen, but BR finds the angle, finds the hook, finds the box. Mom is going to get some damage, and it is going to be a kill given over to Doom. Sneeze is all over the enemy mid laner, and we see that tower is actually down as a visual bug as BR and Doom were able to clean up the fight from behind.
Yeah, now it's a dire position if you're Tilt. If you're Rigor Mortis right now, Jerry, what's the play? What are you doing to try to bring your team back into this?
Rigor Mortis gotta find an angle to get these shutdowns. And like, who do you get the shutdowns onto? I mean, your Senna's fasting, and your Annie's 1 and 4. So I propose that Rigor Mortis tries to get this Trundle shutdown, this Talia shutdown, this Smolder shutdown, and take the game into his own hands. Now, how do you do that, right? It's easy for me to say, oh yeah, just get the 3 big shutdowns on the enemy team. You do have a lot of CC and you do have a lot of pick tools. You take your Camille, tell your Camille to press R in the Smolder. Smolder can't cleanse that. Smolder can't flash that. Smolder can't E that. You see Smolder looking for a
Right
play.
now, Smolder here for the dive on this bottom turret. Trundle gonna delete that turret immediately. Colin gonna be caught out. Blobfish takes his life. Meanwhile, on the top side, we're gonna see Camille. I can't even remember names right now. Finding the Talia shutdown.
Yeah, definitely great play by Rigor Mortis and Weatherneck, choosing not to save the doomed bot outer tower and getting a shutdown. Honestly, if a kill is not going to Rigor Mortis, I think Camille is like the next best target. Maybe I just have like zero faith in this Annie and this Senna. No, that's actually exactly what I'm feeling. I have zero faith in them. Camille, a champion that scales insanely well with gold, and if he's able to make up for the early like laning blunders that happened, if he's able to get these shutdowns, able to get these kills, suddenly if you're able to flip that top matchup into the favor of the Camille, then you have another win con. You can start playing 4-1 because you have Camille late game. If she has gold, will be able to win side lane against Jace, and will definitely be able to win side lane against Talia. And that gives you opportunities. That gives you opportunities for Rigor Mortis to hang out around Camille like they just did and kill whoever's in side lane. Stop this poke comp from sort of deathballing and choking you out of space, and sort of split them up and kill them that way. So again, very heads up play by Tilt Esports. They're still down 5,000 gold. So it's like they have a lot of grounds to make up, but at least they're trying.
Gary, one of the most passionate casters I've seen in a bit. That has to be one of the funniest calls. No, that's exactly what I'm saying. I can't get over that.
There's two opposing forces that I'm feeling right now, and because I've said it twice now. I'm trying to spread positivity, but looking at fasting Senna is like bringing me great levels of disappointment. And
Positivity counter at three levels of positivity being spread here. Just not for fasting Senna. Blobfish gonna be hopping on. Mom gonna get called in on water. Blobfish gonna go down really quickly. Only the subject keeping them alive. They are able to find Camille. Rigor Mortis losing a ton of HP, and now we see the fight turned in Summit's favor. Rigor Mortis, the counter attack isn't gonna keep him alive forever. Wancake able to find him. Meanwhile, Albino Sunbanner gonna find Wancake. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Colin gonna go down. 3 for 2 and a mid T2. All the T2s falling for Summit except for the bot one, which I'm sure is going to fall soon. I think one of the things we see with Blobfish on Trundle is just how quickly these towers are being taken. There's no room to keep your map alive. And worst of all, that Ocean Soul is about to go into the pocket of Summit.
that's a Chemtech soul, no?
That's a Chemtech Soul. I think I'm a little blind.
I also would think that if that helps, as we see, this is going to be completely uncontested from the side of Tilt Esports. What can they do about the Chemtech Soul? On the bright side, I mean, it is Chemtech Soul. There are many worse souls that you could be facing a poke comp down with. Hextech Soul, Ocean Soul, Infernal Soul, even Mountain Soul because you're playing dive comp. So honestly, this is best case scenario for Tilt Esports. Now, how do you win this game if you're Tilt Esports? You get a pick and you get the Elder Dragon. That's the gambit that they have to play. Their last stand, if you will. Now,
Do we think they survive Baron and what do they do about this Baron coming up?
hope they don't lose.
Hope they don't lose. How do they stop themselves from losing?
Okay. The real answer how they stop themselves from losing is not die here. This is step one.
Weatherneck caught in a horrible position. The death sentence is there, and man, we are just not listening. Oh, we are listening. Don't die. It's gonna be a counterattack here from Jax. Not gonna find anything as Doom comes in, and Rigor Mortis.
Rig.
Oh,
Get out of there!
To save Rigor Mortis. They're on the run, and they're going to get away.
Yeah, the whole play of get Camille out and then go home. Best case scenario for the side of Tilt Esports. You don't care that you're not getting any kills. You weren't gonna kill anyone there anyway. You've saved your Camille from a fate worse than death, which is death and then also like losing a bunch of towers. They may lose this tower anyway, but yeah, no, they're gonna lose this tower anyway. Okay, one thing that I want to point out about this Tilt Esports composition is we're thinking like, how do we survive Baron? I think okay, you know, we should use some wave clear. We don't have any wave clear.
Colin cleared
This
off the map.
dead. That guy's dead. Died. Just dead. Yeah, Smolder.
25 stacks on Smolder right now as they start marching into the turret that has no
Mortis
ADC as
bro.
Colin is
He's
dead.
done. Rigor Mortis dancing, bro. He's watched his team run him down, and he can do nothing but smile and laugh. Where's the wave clear? Arsena doesn't have a static shift because she wanted a blood song. Like, we're just doing whatever. My Sunfire Cape Nautilus is 0 and 6. It's just
Making like a Bruno Mars song, and Rigor Mortis is dying with a smile right now.
Yeah, all you can do is smile as you run out of options. Because, like, what do you do about this Baron? It's a great question. Because you can't really do anything about this Baron. What is your wave clear? 110 mana Senna Q every 8 seconds? And, like, any W? Like, grow up. That's not happening. Smolder is going to press Q and you're going to die. Just like that Nautilus did under that tower.
This is one of the harshest casts I've listened to, and I love it. Holy crap. But chat's running the same sentiment. We're getting comments like, what am I looking at? We're looking at Tilt get absolutely destroyed this game. First game was very close, but this game right now, Baron about to be taken. It's going to be Summit, who is almost reaching that 10,000 gold gap. They're about 1.5 thousand gold away or 2,000 gold away from hitting that 10,000 gold gap. It's the Elder Flip if they can survive Baron. It is going to be the Elder Flip. Do we think it's possible?
I think anything is possible. Last night I played an ADL match. We were up 9k on Elder, and then Mad G stole the Elder with a Sivir W and then pentakilled us. So after that experience, anything is possible. Do I think it's probable? No. These guys are not as bad as me, so they'll probably lock in and win, right? Surely.
Oh, okay. Oh, come on. You gotta give yourself a little credit. I believe that you'd be able to lock in and win.
I lost Elder Dragon. We did win that game. I just lost Elder Dragon to Mad G, and there's kind of like no coming back from that, you know? As we see a play happening onto Weatherneck.
Weatherneck going to be caught out here. He's going to use the Hex's ultimatum to run away. That's going to be his ult down, but he's going to get away with his life. Never mind. Death Sentence is going to come through. Rigor Mortis forced to counterattack. Hi, Mom! VR is going to try to run away as the Prism is set up. One cake on top. Meanwhile, we have Trundle looking to end the game mid. He is sprinting at the turrets. It's a little bit more important right now as water about to fall. We see 3 members fall. No one able to take down the Trundle. Your ADC is dead. Colin is dead. And you know who's alive?
Don't say that. No, I refuse to engage with this premise.
And there's going to be the second turn. And now the next hit is going to fall as Summit stares down Albino Sun King. ADC still dead. And it's going to be the undefeated streak that is broken by Summit.
I refuse to acknowledge Nautilus AD carry. It's not real. It cannot hurt me. It
cannot. Is real. He's here. He was in this game. You watched him play.
Oh my god.
Not only did you almost lose to Matt G, but you got outsmarted by having a pentakill in the head. But you know
No,
who didn't
yeah.
lose to Matt G? Summit Esports Phoenix, who have just claimed victory over Tilt. My hair gets more messy the more messy the games go. As we're gonna see two teams going 2-1 into week 4. How do we feel about this series, Cherry?
Like for better or for worse, Summon Esports Phoenix seem to be the consistently like better team throughout the series. Even like while game 1 was close, it felt like Summon Esports Phoenix like knew what they were doing, for lack of a better term. When Summon Esports Phoenix was behind, they were playing League of Legends. In my opinion, like if you're the better players than the enemy team, you draft yourself a comp like this game 2 comp where you have agency, you have multiple ways to play. We saw a Blob pitch able to just run down the mid lane. They don't even have to have 5 people to team fight. You can just have your 3 poke champs and a Thresh sit there, have your Trundle split push. And it felt like the difference between game 1 and game 2 was the amount of versatility that Summit Esports Phoenix drafted themselves. They played better, they laned better, they didn't have a Sunfire Cape Nautilus AD carry. Definitely a big contributor. And all in all, good on Summit Esports Phoenix taking down the undefeated Tilt Esports.
Yeah, Summit Esports definitely a chip in their pocket to try and pull them closer to playoff contention. Is there any like moral of the story you think other teams who are watching this series should take away?
No, this is an amoral. This is this is an a this is an amoral lawless series. This is
What? What? You could have said anything. You could have said, "Don't
bro,
play Nautilus
bro,
ADC."
bro.
You could have said,
You
"Build
asked me a question.
AP."
You asked me a question. You asked me a question, and I answered it honestly. I don't know what else you want from me.
Oh god. Okay. I. I also want to point out this game. It's another Smolder victory here in Vanquisher. I feel like we never watch Smolders lose in Vanquisher. Oh my god. I think.
I love
What?
League of Legends.
Sorry,
The most
did you say except when I play him?
This is the most fun that I've had in the 2 hours between Tuesday, 8 p.m.
I hate
EST and 10 p.m.
Smolder.
EST. This is so much more fun than Theta, Jesus Christ.
Ladies and gentlemen, after me getting,
Yo,
I
real
don't
talk,
even
did
know
they
what to say.
win? Let's
I,
see.
I'm at a loss for words right now. Is the second Titan stream still like? Is that okay? With that being said, we're gonna wrap this up before I take another roast. Thank you all
Yo, Theta
45 of
lost
you.
game 1. We're so back, by the way.
Thank you all
I
45
stay
of you for
hating.
watching. Shout out to the #1 spreader of positivity, Cherry, for taking Sater's spot on this cast. He's sick. He should be back next week, we hope. Thank you so much for joining us, Cherry. Any closing words you want to say before we send it out?
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you don't, I don't particularly care. Have a nice evening.
And with that, we're going to Titan Stream 2.